Hey there, Scott with PassMasters, again with another question of the day to help you prepare to pass your real estate exam. Let's take a look. All of the following are true regarding owning property as tenants in common, except. All right, so first off, remember tenants in common was a type of co-ownership, and co-ownership exists whenever there is two or more people involved in owning the same property. All of the following are true except, so we should have three true statements about tenants in common ownership and one false, the false one being the correct answer. Let's take a look at the first answer. Ownership interest must be equal. Is that true? False. Ownership could be equal with tenants in common, but it's not required to be, so it actually could be unequal. Now, what type of co-ownership had always equal ownership? Joint tenancy. But here we're talking about tenants in common, so it is not required to be equal, although it could be. So that's a false statement. That should be our correct answer, right? Because we're looking for what's false. Let's take a look at the next answer here. There are no rights of survivorship. That's a true statement. With tenants in common, if one of the tenants passes away, their ownership goes to their heir or their beneficiary. It does not transfer over to the remaining co-owners. So that's true, not the answer. Next answer, each tenant in common has an undivided interest in the property. True, means they all share an undivided interest in that property with tenants in common. Last answer, the interest of a deceased tenant in common passes to their beneficiary. And I already mentioned that is true, and that really relates to the no rights of survivorship. So very important here, you need to know the difference between and the specifics with tenants in common and how it varies from joint tenancy was very important here in this question. So we believe that first answer there was correct because it was false. Is that correct? It is. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the explanation. Although each tenant in common has an undivided interest in the property, tenants in common may hold unequal interest. So that's a big difference between tenancy in common and joint tenancy. Joint tenancy, it's always equal ownership. Tenancy in common could be equal, but it could also be unequal. Since there are no rights of survivorship, the interest of a tenant in common who dies will pass to their beneficiary. Again, another difference between tenants in common and joint tenancy. In joint tenancy, there was right of survivorship, where if under joint tenancy, if the tenant passed away, their ownership passed to the remaining joint tenants. So hopefully this question helped. You really need to know these. There's going to be a couple questions on your exam about them. So keep up the hard work. You can do this. You can pass. You can get licensed. And you can become a great real estate agent. Thanks for viewing.